Today we're examining the 10 deadliest tornadoes in the world. These events claimed thousands of lives, left tens of thousands injured, and forever changed the communities they struck, with the number one tornado on our list claiming over 1,000 lives. Number 10. The Tupelo-Gainesville Tornado Outbreak. Our countdown begins with not a single tornado, but a massive outbreak that terrorized the American South over 2 devastating days. On April 5th and 6th of 1936, at least 14 tornadoes tore through the southeastern United States, creating what remains the 4th deadliest tornado outbreak in U.S. history. The most catastrophic of these storms struck Tupelo, Mississippi, where an F5 tornado killed over 200 people. Just hours later, another violent tornado, rated F4, devastated Gainesville, Georgia, claiming more than 200 additional lives. This marked the only tornado outbreak in U.S. history where 2 separate tornadoes each killed over 200 people. Number 9. The St. Louis, East St. Louis Tornado. In the late afternoon of May 27, 1896, a massive tornado descended upon one of America's greatest cities. Known as the Great Cyclone, this storm carved a path of destruction through downtown St. Louis, Missouri, and East St. Louis, Illinois, in just 20 catastrophic minutes. This tornado was the most notable in a major outbreak that produced several large, violent, long-track tornadoes across the central United States. The devastation was concentrated in some of St. Louis's most vibrant neighborhoods, the fashionable Lafayette Square and Compton Heights areas, as well as the poorer Mill Creek Valley. In those 20 minutes, at least 255 people lost their lives. Over 1,000 were injured, and more than 5,000 were left homeless, having lost everything. Number 4. The 1996 Bangladesh Tornado. On May 13, 1996, a deadly and destructive tornado struck 80 to 90 villages across north-central Bangladesh, arriving with devastating wind force at 125 miles per hour. In just 20 minutes, this monster storm claimed more than 600 lives, left over 37,000 injured, and extensively damaged over 36,000 houses. The tornado tore through the districts of Jamalpur, Sirazganj, and Tangal, affecting thousands of families across dozens of villages. In its wake, 100,000 people were left homeless and more than 6,700 livestock were killed, a devastating blow to the agricultural communities that depended on these animals for their livelihood. Before the tornado's arrival, locals witnessed heavy hailstones falling across the affected areas, an ominous warning of the violence to come. The storm's powerful winds were so intense that several people were lifted into the air. In one horrific case, a person was blown 1.5 kilometers away by the unstoppable winds. He did not survive. The tornado uprooted countless trees and completely destroyed houses, mostly mud brick huts built by poorer villagers on the banks of rivers. These simple structures offered virtually no protection against the storm's fury. Initial reports cited between 400 and 443 dead, with 32,000 injured, but as rescue workers reached more remote villages, the true scale of the catastrophe became clear. More than 600 people lost their lives in this devastating tornado. Number 3. The Tri-State Tornado. On the afternoon of March 18, 1925, the single deadliest tornado in United States history, and the 3rd deadliest worldwide, carved an unprecedented path of destruction across 3 states. The Tri-State Tornado remains one of the most extraordinary meteorological events ever recorded. The tornado touched down near Ellington, Missouri around 12:40 p.m. and caused a continuing path of destruction for a staggering 3.5 hours. It traveled at an average forward speed of 62 miles per hour, which is remarkably fast for a tornado, with a peak speed reaching 73 miles per hour. The storm's path stretched at least 219 miles, though recent research suggests it may have extended as far as 235 miles, making it by far the longest track tornado ever documented. With winds estimated at approximately 300 miles per hour at its height, the tornado would classify as an EF5 on today's enhanced Fujita scale. The damage path averaged 3/4 of a mile wide, but periodically expanded to as much as 3 miles wide in some locations. The destruction was apocalyptic. The tornado completely obliterated multiple communities. The town of Gorham, Illinois, was 100% destroyed, with all 37 residents killed. In Murfreesboro, Illinois, 234 people died, still the record for the most deaths in a single community from a tornado in U.S. history. Recent research has raised questions about whether the entire 219-mile path represented a single continuous tornado or a family of tornadoes produced by the same supercell storm. However, experts generally agree that at minimum, a 151-mile segment was likely continuous, which would still make it the longest-lived tornado on record. Number 2. The 1973 Faridpur District Tornado. A devastating tornado struck Manikganj District, Bangladesh on April 17, 1973, killing 681 people officially, though local sources believe the true toll exceeded 1,000. The tornado reportedly featured 2 funnels that merged and moved in a zigzag path, completely leveling almost all houses in Balarchar village and 8 villages along the Kalinganja River. The tornado's path was unpredictable and erratic. The tornado was so powerful that it reportedly threw a boat 1,000 meters through the air. As we reach the end of our video, there's some dispute as to what the number 1 world's deadliest tornado is. The 2 tornadoes that are disputed both occurred in Bangladesh, one in 1969 and the other 20 years later in 1989. So making the list as number 1A and 1B is the Dhaka tornado of 1969 and the Daulatpur Saturia tornado of 1989. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see my full-length videos on these subjects, go to my main channel, Deadliest Disasters. Link in the video description and on this channel's homepage. Thank you.